My name is Elaine, and I'm a compulsive overeater. I weigh and measure 3 meals a day from the gray sheet. I write them down, I commit them to my sponsor, and I eat nothing in between, no matter what, without exception. And Gray Sheet provides a foundation for my life. It's the most important thing in my life right now. I'm very grateful for that. I have never qualified before. I just got my 90 days yesterday. So today is day 91 of back-to-back abstinence. So bear with me. I've got some notes, and hopefully the story will be resonant and understandable. So I'm going to use the traditional format of telling what it was like, how I got into Gray Sheet, and what it's like now. Okay. I was born in upstate New York, and I was not a fat kid. I was a skinny kid, and we had a refrigerator full of really nutritious stuff. We had some grains and sugars, but generally we didn't have like a lot of cookies or processed food. So growing up, I was, I did not have an issue with weight. I went off to college, very, very naive, very sheltered, Catholic. And in my second semester at school, was involved in a confusing date rape incident with 4 guys. And my kind of shiny class president, cheerleader, all-American self was destroyed within a matter of 48 hours. I was devastated. And I did not reach out for any help. I was so ashamed and embarrassed. And here I was, 18 years old in Rochester, New York, just, completely confused and alone. And I started to eat. So when some people talk about the freshman 15, I had the freshman 50. And I came back from college, having been a normal weight, like a size 6 or 8. I came back from college very heavy, very depressed, and very uncertain about myself. I began binge drinking as well as binge eating. And that cycle continued for years and years of binge eating, binge drinking, and then ridiculous dieting, starvation dieting. So up and down like a roller coaster. Somehow I graduated. My grades went from A's to F's, like into D's. But somehow I graduated from college, and I moved to New York City, where I went to law school. And I didn't get in. I got in by like the hair of my teeth. Honestly, it was like ridiculous. And while I was in law school, I started another cycle of dieting. This time using Jenny Craig. And got down to like a normal weight, and I got married and started to study for the bar exam. And during that period, I had gone off of the diet, so all the weight came back on within like 60 days. Like it was like insane. I had been dieting for so long, and like the minute I picked up the sugars again, boom, all the weight came back on. And that time I got up to like 180, 190 pounds. So it was worse. And I started studying for the bar exam, and failed it. I don't know how I could have possibly concentrated on it. I was so full of sugars, grains, starches, and alcohol, honestly. And it took me 3 times. And by the time I passed the bar, I was so done with that ambition, trying to be a lawyer, trying to do anything at all, that I kind of just gave up altogether on it. And I found a kind of an ancillary career. And I moved to Washington, D.C. And I started seeing a bariatric medicine specialist, thinking that that was the answer, that my eating could be controlled through science, through kind of like a medical program. And the doctor prescribed me these pills, which not only were like speed, but also had the effect of an extreme laxative if you touched anything off of the plan. So I became really, really addicted to these drugs. Now I got down in weight again to a more normal weight, and I met my now husband.
10 left, Elaine, 10 left.
10 left, thank you. And we're still married today. It's a great marriage, and I'm super, super grateful for it. But the hole in my soul was not filled, okay, by these crazy drugs. I was addicted to this speed. I was addicted to the cycle of binging and then the laxative effect of the medicine. And it was disgusting and horrible. And at some point, they stopped working completely. So not only did it not fix the food problem, but that hole in the soul is still there, right? And I had a lovely, engagement and marriage. And I started seeing a therapist at this time who said, get off of those diet pills. And I really tried to do better with that. And we had two beautiful children. They're now 11 and 13. So good things have happened when I was in the food, but I still was binging. And slowly I put on weight to be over 250 pounds. And at that point, the weight was so disabling. I started to have health issues. I had severe migraines. I had emotional mood issues, so much so that like I would be in a rage 1 minute and ecstatic another minute. And I would have long periods of mania where I would be working so much, hours and hours, both at the law firm, and I'm a painter on the side, so I would paint as well into the night, fueled by food, sometimes by food and whiskey and cigarettes, whatever it was to kind of keep me going, okay? And meanwhile, I'm 250 pounds, and this is a terrible, unhealthy situation. But I came into GreySheet. And how did I get into GreySheet? It's a good question because it's not easy necessarily. Like you don't know, it's not everywhere. You don't necessarily know about it. And I wasn't in other 12-step recovery programs. So I had somehow remembered that OA might be a spiritual solution to a food problem. And I looked all over, tried to find out about OA. And I couldn't find a meeting that would give me any sort of guidance in terms of the food. And somebody said, well, you have to go to a nutritionist. Well, I had been to a nutritionist. I kind of missed this part. But like, in addition to Jenny Craig, I had gone to Weight Watchers. I tried an acupuncturist. I tried nutritionists, vibration machines to vibrate the fat off. Of course, the therapy, the diet pills, the water pills, the laxative, and you name it. I had tried it to lose the weight. Okay. And so when somebody in OA said nutritionist, I said, oh no, I can't do that again. I felt like I was going to fail again. And somewhere in the back of my head, I remembered something about a gray sheet. And I swear to you, this is where the miracle of GreySheet is, because there are no signs pointing you to GreySheet, And I'm looking on the internet furiously to find the gray sheet, because I figure if I can get the gray sheet, I'll win. I'll win if I can get my hands on the gray sheet. And I got to GSA website and I made the call. And I found somebody who answered that phone call, which was a miracle to me. This is now 2 days after Christmas this past year. And the woman said, well, you need a sponsor and you need to get a scale. And I'm like, I can order a scale on Amazon. And even when I'm dialing the number to order the scale on Amazon, I'm like, this is just another thing I'm going to fail at. This is just another thing I'm going to fail at. And it felt full of doom somehow. But I got the scale and I got a sponsor and I committed my food. And since that moment, which was January 2nd, 2023, I have not eaten anything off of the GreySheet now, which was a miracle. That's a miracle. However, that was not 90 days ago. That was 144 days ago, and I'm well aware of that. So what happened at that time was I was following the GreySheet, rigorously, as we all do, meticulously, with great perseverance. And I left a vegetable in the microwave, and I failed to call that into my sponsor. And she put me back on day 1 on day 53. So that was a heartbreak for me.
5 left.
Thank you, Nancy. But I didn't go out. And I remember thinking, when she put me back on day 1, and I'm outside in my front yard here, and I've got tears running down my face, and she goes, I'm putting you back on day 1. And I'm like, no, it was a couple of carrots. It was a couple of vegetables. I really shouldn't be back on day 1 for that. And she goes, I'm sorry. You have to be willing to turn over your mistakes. That really hurt. That hurt. But I did it. And I didn't go and binge. I did not go and binge, which was my first, honestly, my first impulse. It's like, I gotta get out of jail free card or something. Since I got put back to day 1, my attitude was better. Honestly, it was less white knuckled. It was more surrender. It was more willingness to follow the program with love. And that was a weird change in my heart. That hole in my soul began to be filled up. People started reaching out to me. People were sympathetic when they found out that I got put back to day 1. And that was amazing. That is the strength of this program, that people reached out and called me and said, I'm sorry. It is a technical. Don't worry about it. You haven't gone off the gray sheet. You're still, spiritually you are abstinent, although you made a technical error and it's serious. There's an equivocation there in a way. But my surrender was complete. I went to the refrigerator to get some protein a couple of days after that. And I found that my husband had eaten my protein. And instead of flying into a rage at him, I just put my shoes on and I went to the grocery store and I got the protein, and I cooked it up and I ate it and I was abstinent. And every morning that I wake up abstinent is a gift from God. And I cannot tell you, I don't have pain. I don't have confusion. I'm able to sit at my desk and do my work. And I wasn't able to do that before I came into this program. I am able to start a project and finish it instead of have 20 projects pending, ready to finish somehow. My daughter's best friends were involved in a shoplifting incident, and thank God she wasn't there that one day in that one moment. She's 13 years old. Okay. We live in Arlington, Virginia, full of families of privilege and all these bored little girls going to the mall and shoplifting. It's horrible. And I was present for her. I have been present for her these last 2 weeks as this is getting sorted out. And I'm sitting there and hearing what she has to say and being there for her in a way that I was not when I was in the food. That is a gift of the program. I'm showing up for myself. I put on shoes to go for walks. And I'm hearing the birds in the neighborhood. And I'm looking at the dogwoods and the magnolia trees that are just coming into blossom. And I swear I was not there for that before. So these are gifts that I've received simply by weighing and measuring my food every day. This is not even to talk about the amazing fellowship of women and men who have called me, written notes to me, texts, letters, beautiful things. And every one of these things is precious to me in a way that I don't think that I could have appreciated before. In fact, for a very long time, I thought that people were nuisances to have to be called back, as opposed to gifts who were
1 minute, Elaine, 1 left
in my journey of life. So let me see if there's anything else I wanted to say. I think this is important. I was not a sweets eater particularly. Sugar was never my thing. I was a savory junkie. And I realized that those grains and starches turn to sugar in the body very quickly. But for those of you who think that, well, my problem was never with sugar, mine was not. I was a nighttime binger on salty sweets, salty snacks, not sweets. And I could not stop eating. I could not stop eating every night. I couldn't wait for my kids and my husband to go to bed so I could pack those salty treats into my body. And these days, I have my herbal tea or my diet soda at 7 o'clock. and I go to bed at 9, and I'm not stuffing my face like that at night, just to get through another day. So with that, I'm going to close and thank you all for being here for this amazing program. Thank you.